Hello everyone, welcome to the Stalwart Initiative. And we're back with a very special series called Guild Spotlight. Now in the past, we've had Guild Spotlights community campaigns where we played with people from the community, and we've run through some DM's Guild content on stream. This time we're going to be taking a look at DM's Guild content, but since this is such special content, we're going to take a look at the book itself. And what we're looking at today is Exploring Ebberron, a book by Keith Baker presents, Keith Baker being the creator of Ebberron. And if you don't know what Ebberron is, it is an official D&D setting that was created. Keith Baker won a contest several years back and was able to create this setting for D&D, and it was officially released and supported. We've already had one book, Ebberron Rising from the Last War, from Wizards of the Coast, and now Keith has released his own book called Exploring Ebberron, a vast 247 pages of lore, subclass options, weapons, items, monsters, all kinds of stuff, more Eberron goodness to help flesh out our games. And we're going to start taking a look at this book, breaking segments of it down, and of course we're going to start with my favorite part, player options, and mainly being subclasses right now. So we're going to take a look today at the Artificer subclasses, and also they got some new infusions that we're going to look at as well. So let's begin. So first up, we're going to take a look at the Forge Adept Artificer, and we'll take a look at the class options and have a little discussion about it. So, and I apologize ahead of time. My Eberron pronunciations of some of these names probably aren't on par. If you know the proper pronunciations, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. Okay, the Daeshore Artificers of the Dakani Empire were the finest weaponsmiths in Corvair's history. As discussed in Chapter 4 of this book, as a Forge Adept, you carry on these ancient traditions, creating mystical weapons and armor, strengthening allies on the battlefield, and bringing down enemies with weapons imbued with your own soul energy. If you are Dar, you learned these techniques from the masters of your clan. And this, by the way, this subclass is kind of revolves around revolves around like the Goblinoid nations when in Eberron's history, when they rose to power. The Dakani were a very strong hobgoblin nations that were actually, they were pretty legit for their time. So this is kind of going on that aesthetic. If you are Dar, you learned these techniques from the masters of your clan. Are you content to follow ancient traditions, or do you want to add your own innovations? If you're not Dakani, did you learn these techniques from a Daeshar mentor? Did you steal this knowledge, or are you replicating these traditions on your own? So it's cool that it does leave it open. You don't actually have to be Dakani to get this stuff. You can come up with your own reason on how you learn these particular techniques. So your first feature that you get at 3rd level, which is when you get your subclass options for Artificer, is Tool Proficiency. They all get it. You get it too. So when you adopt this specialization at 3rd level, you gain proficiency with Smith's tools. If you already have this proficiency, you gain proficiency with one other type of artisan's tools of your choice. I love how the Artificer does that. It doesn't make you double up on something if you already have it. It gives you the option to pick whatever other one you would like. The second 3rd level feature you get is Forge Adept Spells. Starting at 3rd level, you always have certain spells prepared after you reach particular levels in this class, as shown in the Forge Adept Spells table. These spells count as Artificer spells for you, but they don't count against the number of Artificer spells you prepare. The list is somewhere here. And it's a pretty decent list. Armor of Agathis is a great option you don't normally see for something like this. Shield of Faith is good. Spiritual Weapon is great. It goes pretty good. They're pretty good spell list. Pretty solid. I like it. So our actually third, I guess it would be third level feature is Battle Ready. Beginning at 3rd level, you're skilled in fighting side by side with your companions on the field of battle. You gain proficiency with martial weapons. Additionally, when you attack with a magic weapon, you can use your intelligence modifier instead of your strength or dexterity for the attack and damage rolls. So this is kind of standard with with the Artificer, as long as you're using a magic weapon, which is super easy to do, super easy to get, especially for this subclass, and we'll see here coming up soon. You can use your intelligence modifier for your attacks as opposed to physical attributes. That's pretty cool. So it's kind of on par with the Battlesmith is kind of in this vein. I like it. I like it. Let's see what the next feature is. So here's what the pronunciations are horrible. My apologies. The next feature is called Gale Sharat. Gale Sharat. Wow. Okay. At 3rd level, you learn to imbue a weapon with a fraction of your spirit. The Dakani de Ashores called this weapon the Gale Sharat. Goblin for Mighty Blade. Imbuing your Gale Sharat works like infusing an item, but does not count towards your maximum number of infused items. When you finish a long rest, you can touch a magic or non-magical, simple or martial melee weapon, which becomes your Gale Sharat. Once imbued, your Gale Sharat is a magic weapon that grants a +1 bonus to attack and damage rolls, unless the base weapon you imbued already grants a higher bonus. This bonus increases when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to +2 at 8th level and increasing to +3 at 13th level. If the weapon you imbued has the thrown property, it returns to your hand immediately after it is used to make a ranged attack. Your Gale Sharat's benefits remain until the weapon is destroyed or until you use the ability to imbue a new item with this power. Other creatures can't benefit from your Gale Sharat's power, and to them it functions as an unimbued weapon did. Wow, that was brutal. Yeah, so this gives you a scaling +1 magic weapon, and that's pretty cool. It's scaling, and that if it's a thrown weapon, you could bamf it back to your hand. That's pretty cool. But this is like the main feature of the subclass, and it just seems a little underpowered to me, especially if you're given a +1 or +2 weapon. It kind of renders it obsolete for part of the scaling. But hey, let's keep going. Let's see what else happens. So at 5th level, you get extra attack. Starting at 5th level, you can attack twice rather than once when you take the attack action on your turn. Simple, necessary if you're going to be up in melee. And at 9th level, you get Runes of War. At 9th level, you gain the ability to enhance the weapons of your squad, targeting the damage to the weakness of your enemies. As an action, you can activate an aura that extends from you in a 30-foot radius. The aura moves with you, centered on you, and lasts 1 minute or until your concentration ends, as if you were casting a spell. When you activate this aura, choose one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. Each creature of your choice in the aura deals an extra d4 damage of the chosen type when it hits with a weapon attack. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of once, and you regain all expended uses after a long rest. So there's quite a bit to unpack here, but it's pretty simple. You create an aura, and you get to pick a type, and all your allies in it can deal, when they deal damage, actually with a weapon attack. So this is only with a weapon attack. This is not with spell attacks, which that kind of sucks. But it's 1d4 damage of that type when they hit with a weapon attack. Now, granted, if you're in a party with multiple attackers, or with party members that have multiple attacks, fighters, barbarians, rangers, you'll get some mileage out of this, especially since you can pick an elemental type around what you're fighting. Usually thunder or lightning tend to be pretty safe. So you're dealing extra damage, and you're able to give it out as an aura. That's nice. As a 9th level feature with nothing great coming before it other than a +1 weapon, or I guess at this level, is it +2 yet? Yes, so now it's a +2 weapon. That's nice. It's nice. Don't get me wrong, the fact that it's a huge radius and that you can do it several times, probably at 9th level, you're probably doing this 4 or 5 times per long rest. That is nice, and it can add up. The d4s can add up. That's okay. you know, I like it. It's cool. It gives, you know, adds some damage. Let's take a look at the Capstone feature for this subclass. So the Capstone is perfect weapon. At 15th level, you learn how to imbue your Gale Sharat with additional power and how to draw on it in time of need. The first time you attack with your Gale Sharat on your turn, you can transfer some or all of its bonus to your armor class instead of using the bonus on any attacks that turn. For every 1 you reduce your attack and damage rolls by, you gain +1 to your AC. As long as you continue holding your Gale Sharat, the AC bonus remains in effect until the start of your next turn. Additionally, when you finish a long rest, you can select one of the following benefits. Until you finish your next long rest, you gain the selected benefit whenever you're holding your Gale Sharat. Let's drive that home. You have resistance. So there's 2 features here. There's 2 things that you can pretty much always have on. You can switch them when you finish a long rest, but you always have one of these 2 features. The first one is you have resistance to psychic damage and you can't be charmed or frightened. That's pretty powerful. Not being able to be charmed or frightened is great. Resistance to psychic damage that's okay. That's pretty cool. Depending on your campaign, the monsters you're fighting, that can come in handy. And the second feature is you use your Gale Sharat to channel the elements. When you select this ability, select one of the following damage types. Now we're going back to the elemental stuff. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. When you hit with your Gale Sharat, the target takes an extra 1d6 damage of the chosen type. So, one of those 2 features you can always have active. Either the first one with the resistance and immunity to being charmed and frightened, or your extra 1d6 of damage. But the extra 1d6 of damage, that's, yeah, it's only you, and you only have 2 attacks. I like the AC switching idea. I do like being able to transfer some of the buff that you've had for your, I'm not gonna say its name again. From your sword, from your weapon. Sorry, it can be any weapon. From your weapon to your AC. That's pretty cool. But then it takes away from your weapon, and it's okay for a 15th level ability. I just don't think it's enough. This is a very martial class, and I just don't feel it. I would rather pick the Battlesmith. And that was my least favorite out of the initial 3 that came out with Eberron Rising from the last war. But that's okay. Let's move on to the second subclass. The second subclass is the Maverick, the Artificer Maverick. In the world of Artifice, the Maverick is a jack of all trades and master of none. A Maverick is always experimenting with new designs, forever abandoning yesterday's work in pursuit of a new obsession. God, this is hitting home already. While often dismissed by other artificers as eccentric amateurs, in their refusal to follow established tradition, a Maverick may stumble on remarkable breakthroughs, though their idiosyncratic techniques can rarely be replicated by others. This one's already aesthetically and thematically already getting to me. So the first feature for the Maverick is the Arcane Breakthroughs. Starting at 3rd level, you gain amazing insights into spell effects beyond the reach of most artificers. Choose one of the following classes: Bard, Cleric, Druid, Paladin, Ranger, Sorcerer, Warlock, or Wizard. Basically all other spellcasting classes. Both full casters and half casters. Because remember, and this is important to keep in mind for this subclass particularly, you are a half caster, like a Paladin or a Ranger. You're not a full casting class. Okay, you can choose. It's getting ahead of myself. The class that you pick, the other spellcasting class. This class's spells become part of your breakthrough spell list. So you get a new spell list based on what class you pick. You can choose an additional class and add its spells to your breakthrough spell list at 5th, 9th, and 13th and 17th levels. So what this is saying is that you get to get a whole new, you gain another class's, their entire spell list And this isn't just to use willy-nilly. We're going to learn the features and limitations here. But just keep that in mind. At 3rd level, you get to pick one of the other spellcasting classes, and you add all their spells to what you gain now is called a breakthrough spell list, a separate thing. And then you gain additional classes at higher levels. When you change your list of prepared Artificer spells after a long rest, you can prepare an additional 1st level spell. This spell must be from your breakthrough spell list. When you reach certain levels in this class, you increase the number of breakthrough spells that you can prepare. You can prepare an additional 2nd level spell at 5th level, an additional 3rd level spell at 9th level, an additional 4th level spell at 13th, and an additional 5th level spell at 17th level. These prepared spells don't count against the number of Artificer spells that you prepare. When you cast a spell you prepared using this feature, it's considered to be an Artificer spell for you, and Intelligence is your spellcasting ability for it. When you swap a prepared breakthrough spell for a new spell, you lose any ongoing effects from having cast it, such as a steed from Summoned by Find Steed. This is amazing. So it allows you to, as you level up, pick other classes and gain their entire spell list. And it gives you slots to use, as you level as well, to use these spells from. So at 3rd level, you gain a 1st level spell from any other class that you want. Not just limited to certain classes, not just limited to certain schools of magic, any spell list. It unlocks all those spells and you gain 1 1st level spell. And when you get to 5th level, you gain a 2nd level spell in addition to that first one. So you're building a whole new spell list off of the other spellcasting classes. This is fantastic. So the next feature at 3rd level, you gain Cantrip Specialist. You excel at producing minor magical effects and at abandoning your current projects to pursue new ideas. Starting at 3rd level, you gain the following benefits. First, you know 1 additional cantrip beyond what's normally allowed for an Artificer of your level. Awesome. Artificers are in short supply of cantrips and they need them. You get 1 extra one. Hooray. When you finish a short rest, this is the second feature, when you finish a short rest, instead of when you gain a level in this class, you can replace one of the Artificer cantrips you know with another cantrip from the Artificer spell list or your breakthrough spell list. This cantrip is considered an Artificer's cantrip for you. What this means is that Artificers are they're prepared spellcasters, so like their 1st level and above spells, you can prepare them after long rests. But for you to switch out a cantrip, you usually have to wait until you level up to switch out a cantrip. This is allowing you to switch out cantrips on short rests. So if you know, and you get to pick these cantrips from your other lists, from these other spellcasting lists that you gain, you get to switch these out on short rests, allowing you to adapt, super adaptive to the situation, to what's going on. This is great. This is fantastic. Let's keep going. So those are your 3rd level features. Not as many as the other subclass that we looked at, but I think they're already fantastic. I'm already loving this subclass. Let's see here. Next up is our 5th level feature, the Cantrip Savant. At 5th level, you continue to develop your talent for the simplest spells. You gain the following benefits. Now let's boost up our cantrip power. The first benefit is when casting an Artificer cantrip, you gain a +1 bonus to attack rolls and to your Artificer spell save DC unless your spellcasting focus grants a higher bonus. This bonus increases when you reach certain levels in this class, increasing to +2 at 9th level and +3 at 15th level. This is kind of equivalent to that very, very wonderfully named weapon, the Gale Shayarat from the other subclass, as this gives you a scaling boost to your attack and even your spells that only require DC, like your AoE spells and stuff. This gives you a scaling bonus for that. Very cool. Very cool. I wish it did it to damage too, but that's okay. It's scaling. It's good. I like it. And the second feature you also gain with this Cantrip Savant is, as an action, you can replace an Artificer cantrip you know with a different cantrip from the Artificer spell list or your breakthrough spell list. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Woo! So you thought on switching out your cantrips to adapt to a situation on short rests was cool. Now you can do it as an action. If you need something, if you are in dire and need something, let's say you need the Friends cantrip, or let's say you need guidance. You want to be help giving your rogue guidance or your bard guidance for those skill checks. You can, as an action, you can do this once per day. Switch one out real quick. Very cool. Cantrip Savant, I like that feature as well. Let's go to our 9th level feature, Superior Breakthroughs. Starting at 9th level, when you cast one of the spells you prepared with Arcane Breakthroughs, you can do so as if the spell was cast using a spell slot 2 levels higher than the spell slot you expend. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your intelligence modifier, minimum of 1, and you regain all expended uses after you finish a long rest. This is great. So being a half caster, you don't get that high in the spell list. You don't get all those nice 8th level spells and stuff. You excuse me. But what this allows you to do is the spells that you take from the other classes, like Magical Secrets kind of for the board, you're taking spells and making this new spell list. You can cast those at 2 levels higher. And at 9th level, guess what you learn? You can learn 3rd level spells like Fireball and like Lightning Bolt and heavily damaging spells like that. And you can cast them as a 5th level Fireball or a 5th level Lightning Bolt or whatever it is. You cast that as a 5th level rather than a 3rd level. And this scales as well as you get up higher. Fantastic. And you can use it a number of times during according to your intelligence mod, which is probably 4 or 5 at 9th level. I love it. It's fantastic. It helps make the Artificer, in this case the Maverick, a more viable spellcaster. Very cool. Also at 9th level, we get another feature in addition to this. You get Work in Progress. Starting at 9th level, you can ready half-formed projects for easy completion when needed. As an action, you can replace any prepared Artificer spell with any other spell from the Artificer spell list, which then counts as a prepared spell for you. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. This one, on the other hand, allows you to switch out your regular Artificer spells as an action, much like you do with the cantrips. But you can do this one on a short rest instead of a long rest, and yeah, it allows you to even more adapt to your situation. You didn't prepare healing, you didn't prepare a utility spell that you could really use. You can pop that out right now and have it at your beck and call. Love it. Okay, for our capstone for the Maverick, we have Final Breakthrough. At 15th level, you gain 1 additional spell slot of each spell level you can prepare. These spell slots can only be used to cast the bonus spells granted by your Arcane Breakthroughs. As you gain levels in this class and are able to prepare 5th level Artificer spells, which that happens at 17th level, you gain an additional spell slot of that level. What Final Breakthrough is saying, it just doubled your amount of spell slots, or I shouldn't say spell slots, but it gave you a spell slot, 1 additional spell slot for each spell level you can prepare. So at 15th level, you gain 1 first, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th level spell slots. You gain 4 spell slots, and you will eventually gain a 5th one. But you use those on your what's that list called? Your Arcane Breakthrough feature, but I forget what the list is called. Your Breakthrough spell list. Should have figured that one out. So you can use this on your breakthrough spells, which are good ones that you handpicked from other classes. This is wonderful. So this is truly the jack of all trades, master of none. You're the most, in my opinion, the most adaptive spellcaster in 5e, at least right now. So looking at how long this has taken, we're going to go through the Artificer infusions when we cover like the magic items. So let's check out for now. But yeah, so what do you think of these 2 subclass options? Let me know in the comments. Let me know if you like this, like going in depth like this to these through this content. I love this book so much. Unfortunately, I didn't get the hard copy, which I probably will get eventually when I can afford it. But for right now, I got the PDF. And yeah, loving it so far, starting to read through it. We're going to take a look at the other subclasses then, and then we'll move on to other parts of the book. Let me know in the comments if there's any other parts of the book you'd like to look at first after the subclasses. So we have races, we have treasure, we have lore. I can touch on, several parts of this book. Yeah, let me know. Thank you everyone very much for joining me. Appreciate it. Give me some feedback on this. And yeah, until next time, unity is strength. So take care of each other, be safe, and we'll see you again real soon.